Hi, everybody. It's Maya Zahira with psychicprotectionsanctuary.com. And we are now live in our free Facebook group that's called Psychic Protection Sanctuary Facebook group. So as we're waiting for people to join live, I'm going to just do a couple of shout outs. But first, most important, I want to let you know what today's topic is. And definitely be sure to grab a pen and paper because you'll want to take notes on this. As always, today's topic is your money being blocked by a psychic attack, black magic, or dark forces interference? So a lot of people have money issues. We're going to go through the nitty gritty of where that's coming from. It could be coming from a lot of different sources and reasons. And we're going to go through the indications of these issues, causes, how to discern, and some quick tips. So let's go into shout outs. Tamara, we've already got people joining live. This is an important topic. And I need to remember to say my disclaimer. I am not a financial consultant, so I'm not giving money advice. And for a frame of reference, I am not rich. We all have money issues. Even rich people have money issues. I happen to not be rich. I live a very simple life. I do pay my bills. I'm able to pay my bills, but I'm definitely not rolling in dough. I live simply, but I have a lot of, I've been through a lot. I have a lot of perspective on this issue, so I can't wait to share it with all of you. And, so Tamara says, love this topic. Stephanie says, I got my notebook and my pen ready. Denzel says, hi, Maya, and I'm really glad to meet you. I know you're kind of new to the Facebook group. It's great to see you. Linda says, hello from Kentucky, notebook and pen ready too. That's awesome. I love you guys. So as always, I need to go through a few announcements. This also gives the opportunity for more people to find their way here live. So I want to start off by also not just giving a shout out to those of you here live, but also to those of you who are watching the replay. I do have some wonderful subscribers on my YouTube channel. If you're not already subscribed to that channel, it's a great place with a ton of free stuff. It's called Psychic Protection Sanctuary, and it's on YouTube, so you can find it on there. Also, so I'm trying to think of what else I want to say. Also, when I post these Facebook Lives on YouTube, it is literally just an extra gift to the community. It's just a way of putting more information out there. And so I hope you enjoy it. But actually, a lot of the people on YouTube are used to edited videos, and I just want you to know, if you need the videos to be polished and edited and everything, and special cameras and lighting, I am not your channel. You need to go to another channel, because literally these are casual Facebook Lives on our Psychic Protection Sanctuary Facebook group. And I am going to be teaching you valuable content, but, it's in a more personable way. Like, we're just sitting in the living room together and we're having a discussion. And you'll also, those of you who are here live, you'll have the opportunity to ask questions. So I'm so happy to see all of you. Thank you for being here. Other final announcement is, if you would like more information about what it is that I do as an expert and author in psychic protection, I invite you to visit my website, which is called, I have to think for a second. What's my website? www.psychicprotectionsanctuary.com. On the website, you'll just see like general information about who I am. The 2 books that I have out now, I have more books coming. And there are also a couple of ways to work with me. I no longer do one-off sessions, like just one clearing session with me. I used to, I've been doing this for several years, and it's not because I'm being mean that I don't do it anymore. It's that I really want you to get results. And so nowadays, the only people that I do one-on-one sessions for are the students who are in my academy, Spiritual Empowerment Academy, which you can find on my website under the Work With Me tab. And there's a reason why I do it that way. It's because when you do just like a one-time session, it's like a quickie kind of thing, like trying to get rid of a lifetime of horrific psychic attack issues without taking the time to get to the root causes. If you've been having issues for years, you probably have multiple layers of stuff going on. We can't clear that in an hour. And I know some of you wish that you could take me home and have me live in your living room and do it all for you, because I love you guys. I know you're probably laughing right now. Like, I'd love to come and live with you, but I can't live with all of you. Like, in other words, you have to learn how to do a lot of this yourself. I'm here to help coach you and mentor you and give you the big shoves when you're stuck, like to help clear big stuff. But you have to learn how to do your daily clearing. You have to learn how to do your daily empowerment. You have to learn how to develop your own spiritual discernment so you don't accidentally put yourself in an environment where you get a bunch of spiritual cooties again, or you end up getting involved in relationships with people that have entity attachments. I can't empower that for you. You have to learn those things, and that takes a while, right? So the people who join my academy, they get really, really, really good results. The people who used to have a one-off session, they would get some improvement. But again, because we weren't doing all the levels and the layers and the scope of everything, it would be like a temporary result. And if you've been working with other healers, for psychic protection issues, you've probably noticed like the issue will go away for a while maybe, but then it shows up in another way. And that's why. It's because you haven't addressed it in a holistic, multi-level sort of way. And so there's a reason for it. So that's my little explanation for that. So I see lots of you are commenting. That's wonderful. We've got Linda Rose is saying hi from San Antonio, Texas. That's great. I can sense a lot of wonderful energy from everybody here live. I love it. It helps me. It makes me feel good too. Anybody who's in the public eye has to deal with trolls and all that sort of stuff. And people have all sorts of things to say. Like, people criticize that I wear glasses because, like, if maybe I'm doing something wrong, since I wear glasses, I must be doing it wrong. Like, I should not need to wear glasses. People have the funniest opinions. And I will just say to all those people who criticize that I need to wear glasses to see small print, thank you for sharing your thoughts. Lots of love. I am in an ornery mood tonight, you guys. I don't think there's anything wrong with having to wear glasses when you're 51 years old. Jamie L says, hey, Maya, loving the scarf. Yeah, it's chilly. It's freezing cold. It's in the 50s here today in southern Arizona, where I'm used to it being hot. Stephanie says, your glasses are so cool. Yay. I think so. I'm having fun with it. I think it's kind of silly to give weird meanings to things that shouldn't have weird meanings. You know what I mean? Like, okay, someone wears glasses. That's like no big deal. But anyway, YouTube and TikTok and all those places are full of people with all sorts of interesting opinions. Linda says, loving the glasses. Yeah, thanks. All right. So we're having some fun chit chat here. Let's get into our lesson. So everybody have a pen and paper. And I think how I'm going to do it today is I'm going to go through, I've got a lot of bullet points. This is not a class today where I'm going to share a lot of stories. Some of our topics have a lot of like example stories. This one is just boom, 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 boom. This is what you look for. Here's some things to think about. Okay, so it's going to be pretty straightforward. And then after I go through all of that, I'll give you the opportunity to ask questions at the end. Now, how we do it with these free Facebook Lives is when you ask questions, I want you to think of how to frame it in such a way, how to frame your question in such a way that it can be helpful to everyone. So instead of saying, I'm going through a psychic attack that has this and this and this happening, and I don't know what to do, help me. I totally have empathy for you, but this is not the place for that. My paid academy would be for like personalized guidance. In here, you could still sort of get that guidance, but you just have to figure out how to pose your question in a way that's a little more general so that it can help everyone. So you could say like, if someone is having an issue with blah, blah, what would you recommend? Yeah? Okay, but we're not going to do questions just yet. We're going to take notes. Mary says, your glasses are awesome. Yes, you know what? Sometimes when I get a lot of trolls who bug me about something, I'm like, yeah, well, you don't like that I wear glasses? I'm going to get crazy glasses now. So this is why I got crazy glasses, is because it's my like middle finger to the people who criticize that I wear glasses. I've had people say, if you just use positive thinking, then you won't need glasses. Good luck with that. I believe that positive thinking can do lots of things. But I think, again, sometimes spiritual teachings can be used abusively. You know what I mean? Anyway, enough of that. Let's get into, is your money being blocked by a psychic attack, black magic, dark forces, interference, etc.? Okay, so this, as I read that title, it reminds me to remind you all that when we do these lessons, these free lessons, I don't always have time to rewind and go back to defining all of the basics. Like, what is a psychic attack? How do I protect myself from any kind of psychic attack? Like basic questions like that. So if you need that, I want you to get my second book, the Psychic Attack Sourcebook. And this is on Amazon. And honestly, if you're having problems with psychic protection, I've run into a lot of people who are like, but I don't want to spend $10. And I'm like, well, then do all my free videos. But this is the best $10 you're going to spend. Really, you can get it for $10 on the Kindle version. Everything is so clearly described here. Okay, so it's worth it. It really is. And sometimes you have to be willing to invest in yourself, $10, in order to get some help. Okay, as you may have noticed, there have been a lot of weird online energies lately, so I'm kind of feisty because of that right now. So the Psychic Attack Sourcebook, if you need to understand like what are dark forces, what's black magic, what's psychic attack, all the general stuff, read this along with listening to this class and you'll get even more from it. Okay. Okay. So I want you to write a title on your paper. The title, like you can write a simplified title, Money and Psychic Attack, however you want to title it. And then we're going to, put a heading, indications, okay? Indications that you might be dealing with this issue. And I'm going to go through these with you. Stephanie says, I have multiple copies of that book because it is so good. I refer to it all the time. And you actually like gift and sell the copies of the books to people too. You're awesome. Linda says, also as a forever reference book. Yes, absolutely. I think so. Okay. Indications that your money might be blocked by psychic attack, black magic, dark forces, interference, etc. Indications. Okay, if you're having bad luck, consistent or sudden money issues. So if like your whole life or for the past 10 years, money, like no, you just can't keep money in your pockets, no matter how hard you try, stuff happens, everything breaks down. Now I want to balance this by saying, actually, pardon me for backing up a little bit because I was going to mention this and I didn't have it in my notes. First of all, let's face it, that in our world today, and I live in America, so I'm going to be speaking from that perspective. And shout out to everyone in all the other countries. I love how the internet works like this. As an American, I will acknowledge that even in America, it's really hard to make a living. It's really hard to afford health care. Like, just the whole system is set up so that money is hard for a lot of us. So that just kind of is what it is right now. That's the construct that we're living in. That doesn't necessarily mean that you are under psychic attack. So we want to like balance, okay, if you're having consistent money issues, is it, you've got student loans and the student loan system just sucks in the United States. Or are we talking about some other level of bad luck, like crazy stuff keeps happening, like your bank account gets hacked and you lose all your money, or identity theft, and all this crazy stuff happens with your money. Okay, so like seriously bad luck, beyond the bad luck of being middle class or lower middle class or lower class, working class people who are struggling. Like that's hard, but we're talking about like straight out bad luck. So consistent bad luck or bad luck all of a sudden, like everything's been fine in your life, money's been pretty steady, that's not an area where you've particularly struggled, and then all of a sudden everything tanks. When that happens, a lot of times people suspect, you know what, I have been feeling like my sister-in-law or my whoever family member has like been doing black magic or voodoo or something. I have been suspecting that, and then all of a sudden everything tanked. Okay. I've just heard like with the bad luck, the sudden bad luck with money, a lot of the stories that I hear have to do with family members, but it doesn't have to be a family member. Okay, next indication would be sudden loss of income or money. So this also ties in with bad luck, but let's say somebody has, money in their bank account or money in their retirement account, and something happens that all that money is just drained. Okay, now I want to balance this by saying that some people have a soul contract. They have a life path plan that maybe they don't consciously know about it, but that when they're age whatever, they have a major illness and it drains their bank account. That's just something that's on their life path. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're under psychic attack or being targeted by dark forces. So when we're talking about psychic attack and all of this stuff, we have to, I'm going to talk later about using your gut instincts to kind of feel into, is this just life sucking or is this actual negative spiritual interference? Yeah? Okay, so before we go on to the next one, I'm going to read Stephanie's comment. I believe my sister used to send bad luck that affected my money in the past. Yeah, interesting. That feels true. I can feel that. Okay, next indication is job loss, which obviously affects your income. Now, sometimes there are layoffs. Like, we're going to keep this in balance. Sometimes the company lays off people and you weren't supposed to be at that job forever. It doesn't mean that you're under psychic attack, but it can be an indicator. Next indicator is that you can never get ahead financially, no matter how hard you try. And again, keeping this in balance. In our world today, I mean, I talk to my close friends. We talk on the phone and we commiserate about how hard it is to get ahead financially and how hard it is to, afford housing and food. Oh my gosh, food is so expensive since COVID happened, and healthcare and all the things. That's just part of the world today. I'm not saying that it's a good thing. But that doesn't mean that you're under personal psychic attack, but it can mean that. It can mean, so it kind of just depends. Huge unexpected bills, especially if they're from out of nowhere, like, like maybe your ex had like a hidden credit card and you're like, oh my God, now I owe $10,000 that I didn't know that I owe. It could be that it's just another sucky thing of, oops, I shouldn't have been in that relationship. Lesson learned. Or it could be that there's some psychic attack being sent toward your money situation. Now, there's an extra category under indications of money issues related to spiritual warfare. This extra category, I have it in parentheses because it's a little bit different than the rest on the list. The final indicator is self-sabotage. Self-sabotage. So this means that there's not somebody sending black magic toward you. It's more like you're causing your own money issues. Now, take a breath if that was triggering for you. Just hear me out. Okay. Sometimes we sabotage ourselves because we have a feeling of undeservedness. Like we feel like we don't deserve to thrive. There's some kind of inner wound. And so we make decisions, the best decisions that we know how, because there's like this unconscious program running that causes us to make choices that put us in situations that are not so great. And I'm going to say with confidence that we've all done that at times. We've all done that at least a little bit. There are times when our own unhealed wounds come up and we block ourselves from opportunities, or we are so really beaten down by life being hard, because it is sometimes. Sometimes we get so beaten down by life being hard that it's like we end up having blinders to the positive opportunities or the better opportunities. And we announce to ourselves, well, that's it. I'm just going to be unemployed forever. Or that's it. I'm going to be homeless. That's it. I'm just going to have to live in a van. And sometimes we do have to live in a van, but we need to remember that sometimes because of unhealed wounds, we're immediately reaching for the option that's the more wounded option. And sometimes because we've had so much challenge in our life, it's hard to up level out of that pain. And I've been there. So this is not necessarily about psychic attack. It's not about other people cursing you, but it's definitely a valid reason why some of us chronically struggle with money. And I want to raise my hand and say that I have lived in very adverse circumstances in the past. I mentioned earlier that I live very simply. So just like full disclosure, I live in a mobile home in Arizona, which is, mobile homes are very standard here in Arizona. It's different than everywhere else. Like a lot of people live in mobile homes. It's like where all the retired people live. But I live in an old mobile home, which I rent because, owning is more than I could do at the time. Like it's more than I can do because of medical bills. And so I live very simply. So maybe that's TMI, but I'm just giving you the context that I'm not a rich person. I'm just working through life like everyone else. But what I wanted to point out is that years ago, I was definitely in that pattern of self-sabotage and I would assume that the more difficult or less empowered options were the ones that I had to have. It was like I couldn't see the other options. And so I ended up living in a house where I was taken advantage of. I, at the time, didn't have very good discernment. I trusted people that I shouldn't have trusted. Because they were in the spiritual community, I immediately trusted them. And I used to believe that anyone working in the spiritual community must be trustworthy and honest. And I learned that lesson really hard. And I ended up living in a house where the systems didn't work. The furnace didn't work. And I was living in the Midwest where, it gets down to freezing and sometimes 0 temperatures Fahrenheit. And so the furnace didn't work and I was freezing. Okay. I was so cold. And the toilet, the plumbing didn't work. It was not up to code, according to some of the people that came out and looked at it. And so whenever the ground was frozen, I, could not use the toilet because, it wouldn't flush because the ground was frozen. That should not happen in a normal house. Okay. But the plumbing wasn't up to code. And so all winter long, I had to go to the bathroom in a bucket. I had to crap in a bucket for 3 winters. And, when a blizzard would blow in, I couldn't drive to the gas station to go to the bathroom. So it was very bad. So when I talk about the self-sabotage or making choices, like in my instance, in my situation, I trusted people that should not have been trusted. I tolerated situations for much longer than I should have tolerated. So when I talk about the self-sabotage, I say that from a place of knowing and a place of empathy and compassion. So I'm not here pointing fingers. Like I've definitely been there, done that, and have gone through some stuff. So many of us have done the self-sabotage thing. Okay. So before we go into some of the causes of these blocks, let's read a few more comments. Okay. And I will tell people freely, like I had to crap in a bucket for 3 years. It sounds awful, but it's like, I'm a real person. Like I went through this stuff. I'm not some like author that's like living in a mansion. You know what I mean? Definitely not. Denzel says, I can relate to that. So I think what I was saying earlier. Stephanie says, yes, I've been working on clearing self-sabotage patterns recently. And there's always more layers. I've worked through a ton. I'm working on getting to the next level as well. Denzel says, strong discernment is such a great thing to have. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. There we go. Tamara says, I know I've blocked money. When I was making very good money with my own businesses and even earned awards for further pay, I kept thinking, how do I deserve this when there are so many homeless and many who can't eat? I have always thought I was sabotaging myself. I've also turned down gifts because I felt others needed it more than I. after some work and realizing I felt I didn't deserve working on this, things opened up to me abundantly. That's good. I'm glad to hear things have opened up more. Because the truth is, you receiving a gift or you receiving enough to support yourself, and like in my instance, me receiving enough to not have to crap in a bucket, receiving enough is not keeping a hungry person from having food. Like, if this world was set up differently, every single person on the planet would have enough food. And another thing to remember, just a little money mindset thing that's coming to my mind, that when your needs are met, and even when you have extra, when you have enough abundance that you have extra, then that puts you in a position where you can give. Where if you have the time or the health or the finances to be able to go work at a food kitchen or donate money, or if you have a lot of money, you can build a school for children in a poor area. I mean, having more money means you can contribute more. And we've had this program that having money means that you're greedy. And I definitely had that program when I was growing up. I grew up in upper middle class, and my parents were I felt like they were very materialistic. I was an adopted child. And so, not being biologically related, I never could quite relate to them. I felt like they were very materialistic, and I was a lot more down-to-earth granola girl. And so as an adult, I had this judgment in my mind that people who have money are shallow and don't have depth to them. Well, then guess what? My whole 20s, I was like so poor. I was eating saltines for dinner every night, and that was not helping anybody, especially not me. Okay. Oh, we've got a lot of comments. Okay. I think I lost my way. This happens. Okay. Linda says, honest mistake many of us have made it, similar to the false belief that anyone working in the church must be good and trustworthy person. Yeah, absolutely. Tamara says, oh my gosh, on your toilet issue. Yeah. I was way too nice. I mean, I was trying to be, I don't know. I am not that person anymore. I was trying to be understanding, or I was trying to work with them. I didn't realize that they never had the intention to do the upright thing. Excuse me, I need a drink. In short, I was way too nice. And that was in my personal era where I believed that being spiritual meant being nice. Has anyone else made that mistake? So to the point where I was living in those kind of circumstances, and I would never tolerate that at all anymore. Not at all. Mary says, I've lived in terrible places, but at least the toilet worked. I know what you mean about spiritual people being just as messed up as anyone else. Yeah. Hey, Shay, it's good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Tamara says, but now I'm in that spot again. Now I'm one of those homeless that I was concerned about. It's crazy. And Tamara says, I love your cat mug. Yes. Isn't that cute? I used to have a gray kitty that looked like this and a black kitty, so that was why I bought it. I was like, oh, there's my cat. Actually, she looked like this. This is what she looked like. Isn't that cute? Okay, we all have our funny things. I collect cat mugs. Okay. Jamie L says, being spiritual means being real, in my opinion. Yeah, I think so too. I'm all pro authenticity spirituality. Yep. Mary says, I believed spiritual equals nice. It bled into my marital relationships and put me at a deep disadvantage. Giving too much, never again. Yes, absolutely. Okay, great comments. This is a great conversation so far. And that's what I was hoping for. Definitely conversation. So now, just circling back, our main focus is on money issues, money blocks caused by external forces like psychic attack, black magic, dark forces, interference, etc. But as we've just noticed, it's a very important aspect to bring up the idea of self-sabotage and ways that we keep ourselves small financially. Okay, but that's not necessarily the same thing as psychic attack. So in our mind, we're going to kind of keep those separate, but it all needs to be worked on. Okay. Tamara says, I hear you on this one, never again for sure. And Linda says, healthy boundaries are important. Yes. So just an FYI, before we go into the next heading, which is called causes, I'm going to just take a little sidebar and say that in Spiritual Empowerment Academy this month, that's my paid program, we're going to go way deeper into this. This free class, we're kind of just going through these bullet points of what are the issues. But in Spiritual Empowerment Academy, we're going to dive deeper into this subcategory of the self-sabotage and the blockages to money from the self-sabotage aspect. So we're going to go deep into that. And we're going to have a really powerful energy clearing session to clear all of the different types of money blockages, whether it's from black magic, hex, curse, ancestral curse, psychic attack, dark forces targeting, and self-sabotage, like all the things. We're going to do a clearing session to clear all of it. And that's in my paid academy. That's a 12-month program. Because remember what I said before, that like you don't clear a lifetime of tons of layers of psychic protection crap in 1 month or in one session. Like if I only want to work with people who want to completely clear everything and clear it permanently. And that's what we do in 12 months. So you can find out more information about that on my website, psychicprotectionsanctuary.com. It's under the Work with Maya tab. It's called Spiritual Empowerment Academy because I teach you how to be empowered with all this stuff. Okay, before we go into the causes, Stephanie, who's a part of the Academy, says, I'm so excited I'm in Spiritual Empowerment Academy to receive all of this month. I'm really excited too. It's definitely a topic that all of us need. Okay, so we talked about indications of these spiritual issues like having bad luck, consistent issues with money, sudden loss of income, job loss, can't get ahead financially, huge unexpected bills. What are some things that might be causing these issues? Number one, because I hope you're taking notes. Number one, psychic attack from a person. So what this means is somebody is sending you psychic attack. So this can be a curse, a spell, black magic, hex, etc. So a hex is when they will use black magic where they're using a physical object like a doll, a candle, or some other kind of physical object as a proxy for you, and they're psychically attacking the doll, like think like voodoo doll, that sort of thing. Or they're using candle work in a negative way to send a hex your way. A curse is similar to that, but there doesn't need to be a physical object involved. They're just sending you nasty energy. Or they might be doing a specific spell, using a ritual of some kind, an incantation, clearly stating what they want to accomplish with the spell to cause your downfall. And people do this. I've had a few colleagues over the years say, people don't do that sort of thing. I'm like, yes, they do, because I work with all of you. I've had this kind of stuff in my own life, and I hear your stories as well. And absolutely, people do spells and black magic. So that's number 1 on the list. Number 2, possible cause of spiritual blocking of your money. Number 2 could be entity attachment. Entity attachment. So let's talk about that a little bit. I go a lot more in depth about all this terminology in the Psychic Attack Sourcebook. But at entity attachment, by that I mean there's a negative entity in your energy field or attached into your energy somewhere. Or it could step into your physical being, and that's called a possession. Sometimes they will come and go, but in any case, there's an entity, one or more entities present, and they are causing negative influence and oppression. They could be causing, well, if there's a negative entity involved, they could be causing all sorts of symptoms, physical symptoms, mental, emotional symptoms, a whole slew of things, and including money issues, bad luck, etc. So causing oppression in your life. So it could be some type of dark entity, like a low vibrational earthbound human soul. So an evil human soul that's stuck on the earth plane, or a demonic entity, or there's a whole list of other kinds of entities. But those are the 2 most common that I would see with these kinds of money issues. Okay. Number 3 on the list of causes, I'm going to call it dark forces interference. Dark forces interference. Now, I fully define what I mean by the dark forces in the Psychic Attack Sourcebook, but let's just say that it's an umbrella term that refers to any and all of the spiritual and human negative forces in and around the world that are working collectively. Maybe they're not all working together, but they're working collectively in a negative way on the planet. And so, speaking in general terms as a collective about the dark forces, whether it's the demonic realm, whether it's other negative spiritual influences, etc., they are threatened by people who have a lot of light. They are threatened by individuals who have a lot of good to share in the world, whether their mission is to just share love with one person each day in small, humble ways, or their soul mission, their life mission is to help in a big way, to make a big positive impact on the planet. No matter if their mission is humble or big and visible, the dark forces are threatened by those kinds of people. And so one way that they can keep those people down is by blocking their resources, including money. So if that person is barely surviving and is, homeless or afraid or on the verge of homelessness, or doesn't have enough money for food, or they're terrified each month that they might not be able to pay rent, and all that energy is going towards basic survival. All of that energy, it's like their energy is leaking out, it's being stolen from them, and all that energy that could be going directly toward their positive soul mission. So sometimes the cause of the money block or the block of resources is dark forces interference. Now, without going into specific details, because everything that the students in my academy share is confidential and private, and it never gets shared in public like this. So keeping it general here, I will say that in a recent class, very recent class, with my academy students, we were sharing stories about times when some of us were under direct attack by dark forces in different ways, and how the crazy ways that our resources were being blocked, whether it was people who could help us, situations that could help us, money, resources, all that. And it's a common tactic. Okay. So if your money and or resources, helpful people, helpful situations, money included in that, is being blocked, that could be a cause of these money blocks. Okay, it could be caused by dark forces interference. Number 4, possible cause of money blocks. Ancestral or past life curse. So we've already talked about how one possible cause can be, I need to check the time. Okay, we've talked about how one possible cause can be a psychic attack in the current now, in this lifetime now, that there is black magic, curse, hex, etc. happening. But now we're going to shift it and say that the psychic attack, black magic, curse, etc. could have happened further back in your ancestry or in one of your past lives. So whatever direction you want to go, your soul's incarnations or your ancestors. So that would be something that needs to be cleared. All of it, all of this, everything that we're going through can be cleared. Okay, so our focus is on like getting clear about the problem. You got to get clear about the problem before you can clear it. Okay, next. No, oh, I've got it numbered kind of differently. Okay, number 5 cause is similar but different to number 4. Ancestral, so it's not a curse, but ancestral or past life trauma or program of poverty and struggle. Either ancestral lineage or your own past lives, trauma, major trauma around money, poverty, maybe starvation, homelessness, losing your home, going through a war, so many lineages, family lineages have gone through, all of that. And going in your own past lives, going back in history, like in our modern era, more people on the planet have housing and basic needs met than ever before. But a long time ago, when everyone was living in a hut or in a cave or whatever, so we all have, if we go far enough back, there's trauma. Every ancestral line and everybody's past lives, everyone, there's trauma. Everyone. And the good news is it can be cleared. It just takes time, clearing one thing after another, clearing. Okay, so trauma or a program, a belief, an experience of poverty, struggle, suffering. Okay, so that's number 5. Before we go on to number 6, let's read our next comment. Tamara says, oh my gosh, interesting about the interference regarding doing good in the world. Let me get the rest of the comment here. As you know, I lost much home and car while I was helping to give shelter to the homeless, as well as delivering food and blankets to the homeless as I was starting to work on prison reform. Yeah, as I read this, I get chills because I think that there was major dark forces pushback. I feel a lot of that with the prison reform. There was major pushback. I mean, for all of it, but especially for the prison reform, I feel like. That's my own little intuitive hit there. Okay, next one. What are we on? 4, 5, 6. Yes, number 6. We got a few more. So we talked about ancestral or past life trauma or program, belief, pattern. But then there's this, our number 6 is current lifetime trauma or pattern or belief or program. And we all have beliefs about money, like what it means to have money, what it means to have enough. Are we allowed to have enough? Does it mean that you're greedy if you have enough? Does it mean that you're greedy if you have extra? That's a program. That's a false belief. Yeah. So, and then some of us have had traumas where we've had something happen during our childhood or adulthood that was very traumatic around poverty or loss, and struggling to have our needs met. So that is a possible cause of money blocks. Now, that's not necessarily about psychic attack and about someone cursing you, but it is a frequent cause of money blocks. And it is something that can be cleared with the kinds of spiritual tools that we learn in Spiritual Empowerment Academy. Because it's really all about psychic protection. Okay, next one. So that was number 6. Number 7 is similar to number 6. A little bit different though. It's your personal threshold. There's this unconscious threshold of how much money or how much ease you will allow yourself to have in your life. And when you get above that amount, it's like all of a sudden things crash back down. And I will say that happens. I'm still working through that one. Like I will work to improve my situation. And if I get past a certain point and I'm like, yay, I had this goal to get this amount and be able to reach this goal. And then as soon as I reach it, then all of a sudden I fall back 3 steps. That is because of your personal threshold. It's like a subconscious thing that happens that when you step out of your comfort zone, again, it's all very unconscious. When you step out of your comfort zone, your subconscious mind freaks out, and as a way to keep you safe, energetically realigns things back to where it was before. So again, it's not a psychic attack, but it is something to be aware of, that this is something that can cause, like when you take 3 steps forward and then you end up taking 3 steps back. That's has to do with your personal threshold. And then the final one is about soul contracts. Now, in my book, the Psychic Attack Sourcebook, I talk about 2 different kinds of soul contracts. Soul contracts are agreements that you make before you come into this incarnation. And they are all sorts of things like what kind of life you're going to have, what kind of relationships you're going to have, what your health is going to be like, what your lifestyle is going to be like, what your, like your purpose in life, if you're going to be contributing, what your work might be, all those things. You figure a lot of that out before you go into the incarnation. And so even normal soul contracts that are not interfered with by dark forces, but just normal soul contracts, sometimes, believe it or not, we actually choose to be not rich. We choose to have particular struggles so that we can work through them, and it tends to have a deepening effect on us. And sometimes in the broader scheme of things, if we were to, let's say, win the lottery and have $10 million, it would, our soul knows that maybe would completely pull us off of our intended soul mission. Now, maybe it wouldn't, okay? But sometimes we have those, quote, safeguards set in place to keep us from getting totally distracted from what we came here to do. And so that's why not all of us win the lottery, okay? Now, that's the one kind of soul contract, is an authentic, genuine soul contract that wasn't interfered with by dark forces. It was just a normal soul contract where you said, yeah, I want to have this kind of money situation and this kind of support or that kind of support, etc. But then there's the other kind of soul contract, which is a soul contract that's been interfered with by dark forces. This can be that when you're making your life plan, there are negative forces that trick you into agreeing to certain life circumstances. And again, it's that dark forces interference that we talked about with number 3 on the list, that the idea is to keep you down so that you're so busy in survival mode that you don't have the energy to thrive and really fulfill your mission. So this is why sometimes there are soul contracts that are interfered with by dark forces. Okay. So those are some of the causes. That is not an exhaustive list. There are other causes as well, but those are the main ones that I see. So before we go into 4 different ways, 4 tips on how to discern what your issues are and what's causing it, I'm going to read Stephanie's comment. Stephanie says, I think with number 6, it can make it easier for dark forces to get to us because we are already worn down. Yeah, I mean, if you are in survival mode, it's a lot easier for like a general dark forces attack to come at you because you're already worn down. And that's one of the tactics that I talk about in the Psychic Attack Sourcebook. There's a whole chapter on the tactics that they use. One of the tactics is to wear you down. That could be through lots of life drama. It could be through relationship drama. It could be through poverty, illness, all these ways to wear you down. And then that's when the next wave happens. So that was another thing we were talking about in the academy recently, is this approach of trying to wear you down. And when you know that that's their tactic, then you don't get sucked in to the whirlwind and the drama. You stay in your power. Okay. So how to discern. So we get, way more into this. Just telling you, we get way more into this in the academy, how to clearly discern exactly what's going on. Because here in a 1 hour or 1 hour plus free class, we can't go through all of the steps. We just don't have the time to do that. So these tips might seem a little basic, but they will get you started. You'll at least know what direction to go. And if you want to go deeper, you know where to go. You know to take a look at the academy, because you'll learn how to do all of these things in the academy. I'm not going to teach you how to do them now, because that would be multiple hours of instruction. Okay, so the first, how to discern, you're going to use your intuition or your psychic skills. Not everyone thinks of themselves as psychic. So for today, I'm going to say, what does your gut tell you? What does your gut instinct? As we went through that list of the indicators of money blocks and the possible causes, what does your gut tell you is true? Which one of those rings true? Maybe more than one. Often it is more than one. It's like there's an ancestral curse and there's somebody sending psychic attack right now or whatever. So what does your gut tell you? Now we go very in depth with developing your intuitive skills in the academy, but everybody has a gut instinct. And I do feel that you can take a look at your list and you can put a check mark or a star next to which ones you think are true, because you are already intuitive. Okay, before we go on to the next one, Tamara says, I have felt for a while, this is exactly what I've been dealing with the dark forces, trying to get at us when we're down. Tamara says, they can F off, LOL. I've realized the tactic finally. There's a lot of power when you realize what the tactics are, because then you don't get sucked in as much. Okay, number 2, how to discern exactly what's going on. You can use a pendulum. So rather than just using your gut feeling or your intuition, you can use a pendulum. And you might already know how to use a pendulum, or you could get a book, learn how to use a pendulum, take a course online. This is also something that we cover in the academy. And you use the pendulum to ask yes and no questions. Is number 1 cause on the list psychic attack from a person? Like you can check, is this money issue caused by a psychic attack? Yes or no? Let's say you get a yes. Ooh, I have a feeling it's coming from Aunt Sally. Is it coming from Aunt Sally? Yes or no? Yes. Okay. So you can check yes or no for all of these different things that we've talked about. And the pendulum is a great tool. Tools like this are really fantastic, because even if you aren't, quote, psychic, even if you don't have like a strongly developed psychic skills, you can use a tool like this to help you get clear answers. Okay. Okay. Number 3, how to discern what's going on. You can work with an intuitive or a psychic. So if you have a friend who is very intuitive, that you can call them up and say, what do you think? Or maybe there's a psychic reader that you already work with that you trust, because you want to vet everybody that you work with. There's a lot of, I'm wagging my finger, got to vet everybody, because there's a lot of psychic readers out there. And I say this with total love and respect to all of my psychic colleagues out there. But I owe it to you to say that there are a lot of psychics out there. They might be coming from a good place. They might be good at what they do, but they don't have an understanding of false light and dark energies and all the tactics. So sometimes they get tricked and they end up giving incorrect information. And so you want to make sure that you're working with someone that you really trust, that you feel like is really grounded and very discerning. Okay. So that's another way that you could discern, is to not just trust your own gut feeling, but maybe you want some more input from somebody who's even more intuitive than you. And then finally, number 4 on the list, in regards to the self-sabotage kinds of issues, not as much about the psychic attack, but the more self-sabotagey kinds of stuff. Be honest with yourself and ask yourself these questions, or write about it in your journal. Do I ever self-sabotage? And maybe narrow it down and say, do I ever sabotage my money situation or my living situation? And you'll feel the answer. You'll be like, oh, yeah, I think that's a yes. And maybe you might get a feeling or a memory of some times when you did sabotage yourself. And you're only doing this to learn how to clear it. It's not about feeling embarrassed or judging yourself for sabotaging. Okay. It's to help you get clear so that you can break the patterns. And so be honest with yourself. Ask yourself, do I ever self-sabotage? around money? Is it connected? So are there any memories in this lifetime or related to your family about money sabotage? Like, did you watch your mother or your father make money sabotaging choices? Okay. So you can kind of explore that a little bit. All right. So that's another way to discern what's going on, is some exploration, journal, talk with a friend, talk with a therapist. I really think journaling would be the best way, though, because when you put it all out on paper, you can kind of, it's like you put it all out there and then you can read it and go, oh, that's what's been going on. Okay. Jamie L says, I wonder. Okay. So here's a couple of quick tips before we finish for the day. Let me just get a drink. Oh, and also I'll answer some questions at the end. Okay. Now remember, these are quick basic tips, and we go way in depth in the academy with clearing sessions, like several ancestral clearing sessions for you to choose from, several past life clearing sessions, clearing sessions for curses and black magic and all of that, diving into, there's just so much depth there. So this is like very quick tips, because I don't want to leave you with nothing. Okay. Oh, Jamie L, don't worry about it. You're fine. Okay. Quick tips. We've got 3 quick tips. Number 1, if there's a psychic attack, black magic, or anything like that, you can do the candle process that I teach. I love to teach methods that are not too complicated, that anybody can do, even if you are not a trained esoteric magician. You're just somebody, average person that's dealing with a psychic attack. I want the tools, the methods that I teach to be accessible to anybody. And if you want to add more bells and whistles and flowers, then you totally can. But there's a candle technique that I teach in my first book, Darkness Disguised as Light. If you suspect black magic, curse, hex against your money or against you, but if it's against your money, you will follow the instructions. I forget what chapter it is, but you can use the table of contents and find it. It's the candle method. If you're dealing with a money issue, you can use a green and black candle, reversal candle, in tandem with the instructions that I give in the book. Okay. So that in itself is going to be very effective. That method is so effective. It's so good. And if you feel like there's tons of layers of this money crap, of like somebody, let's say somebody really powerful is sending nasty psychic attack your way, black magic everywhere, you might need to do more than one candle. So just do a series of them, but start off with one and see how it makes a difference. Okay. It is a great method for curse energy. It's just so simple and easy, and it's amazing. Okay. So I highly recommend that. Stephanie says the candle technique, thank you, it's in chapter 11, has helped me so much. I have to tell everyone about it. And again, that's in my first book, Darkness Disguised as Light. Okay, which is the story of how I got started on all this. Okay, step number 3. Quick tip number 3. Do some honest exploration. How do you hold yourself back? So maybe there is a psychic attack happening. Let's just say maybe there actually is dark forces interference, spiritual interference of some kind. But also don't skip number 3. Do some honest evaluation, honest exploration. How do you hold yourself back? Do you have a threshold that your subconscious freaks out and makes you go back down? if that's the case, then it's very easy for somebody's psychic attack coming your way to hook in real hard. Because, like if you have total confidence and you're totally healed on your money issues, it will be much harder for somebody's psychic attack to have an effect on your energy. It might have a little bit of an effect, but it won't blast you as much as it will if you have a lot of unhealed wounds about money. That's just a fact, because that's how it works. So number 3, do some honest exploration. How do you hold yourself back? So you're going to write in your journal, go for a walk and think about it. Pull up your online banking or count your money. Like, put your hands on money as you are thinking about this, right? You can go out into nature and get your clarity that way out there, or you can sit there with your checkbook. You can open your online banking account and look at it and think about how it makes you feel when you open it. Are you afraid to open your online banking? I used to be like, oh God, I don't even want to look at it. I've gotten over that years ago, because a friend gave me a really good tip. She said, if you're afraid, if you are an avoidant money person, if you're avoiding dealing with your money, which I used to be like 15 years ago, she said, you need to open your online banking every morning at breakfast. Look at it every day so you know exactly where you are. And that was like the best thing. It helped heal so much. I started doing, now I don't have to do that every day. But that helped me get over that. So that's just a little like money mindset tip. Open it up every day. So you're empowered when you know what your situation is, when you know what your bank balance is. You're empowered. It doesn't mean that you're overly focused on money. It means that money is energy. It's resources. And you open up your account, your online account, and you say, I know I am empowered because I know how much is there today. I know if I need to hustle or make some changes or do something, I'm not going to be disempowered and let my account go negative, because I know I'm fully aware every day of where things are. Okay. So number 3, do some honest exploration. Are you avoidant with your money? Do you not want to look at it? Do you have judgments about your money? Were there family patterns? So that's just something to think about, without judgment, without self-judgment, but just with curiosity. Okay. Tamara says, wow, I have always known I have a threshold regarding abundance, but I never thought of it this way. This is a great term, my personal threshold. Thank you. Stephanie says, how can you start moving that money threshold? That's a good question. I am not, so I started off by saying I'm not a money coach. I'm not a money consultant. I'm also not, I'm not like, there are people out there who are specifically like spiritual money coaches. I'm not. So this topic is mainly about psychic attack that might be affecting your finances, but we have to talk about the self-sabotage as a part of it, how we're psychically attacking ourselves sometimes. So I will say I'm still figuring out how to get past the threshold, how to get past money thresholds. But I will say this, when you have a money threshold, you keep taking action forward. So let's say you hit your threshold and then things suddenly, so you take 3 steps forward and then you fall 3 steps back. When that happens, don't give up and say, oh, I'm just always going to be, I'm not going to be successful, or I'm not going to have enough money to do my soul purpose or to do my spiritual work, or whatever it is, whatever negative thought loop tries to start when you fall back three steps. You look at it and you go, oh, I must have hit my threshold. And then you keep making yourself go forward. My threshold is now higher than it was 15 years ago. 15 years ago, my threshold was poverty, like below the poverty level. Now it's above the poverty level, but it's my threshold is still not at like rich and vacations all the time. Like that's not where my threshold is. And if your threshold is at that point, then I think that's something to celebrate. If you're further up, that's great. This is just where I'm at. So my advice would be, wherever your threshold might be, because we're all at different places. When you take the 3 steps forward and you fall back 3 steps, you then go forward again. You keep going. Because the more often you hit the threshold, it's like the more your system gets used to being at that point. And then your threshold gradually rises up. I hope that makes sense. Okay. As you can tell, I'm not a spiritual money mindset coach, because I haven't like gotten there yet. Do we have any other questions before we wrap up? So I have a feeling there will be a couple more questions. So just a reminder that this month in Spiritual Empowerment Academy, we are going deep into an exploration and energy clearing sessions all around this subject. And then some. Another quick announcement is that our Facebook Live happens every month on the second Tuesday. Sorry, I just misspoke. Every month on the first Tuesday. I think a long time ago it used to be on the second Tuesday, maybe. On the first Tuesday at 5:30 Mountain Time. And so just adjust that to your time zone. And this is a Facebook Live that's in our Facebook group, our free Facebook group, Psychic Protection Sanctuary Facebook group. Also, I see a question that just came through. The Facebook group is free, but it's not necessarily for everyone. Like, we vet each person energetically. We look like, so you have to answer the questions before being allowed to join the group. There's 3 questions that you have to answer. We look at your answers to the questions. We determine, okay, would this person be a good fit for the group? We're looking for people in the free group who are wanting to be empowered, who are seeking answers, and also are self-directed and empowered, right? So that people who are taking the opportunity to read one or both of the books, or to watch some of the free videos, and to take in that information and digest it, and then come onto the group and ask questions about where you're stuck. Okay, so it's not a group where we answer the question over and over again, what is a psychic attack? Because it's like, just read the book. Just read the book. We want people to be self-directed, self-reliant, and not dependent, not overly dependent. We really, that's an energy that I encourage in both the free group and the paid program. People who are empowered. That's really what empowered is all about. You don't ever want to be overly dependent on asking a spiritual mentor every little question about every little small thing. So we give you a lot of resources in the free Facebook group, but we're also specifically looking for people who are who have a certain level of empowerment through seeking and learning on their own, right? And then asking questions. Okay. Sky is asking, what if you are being surveillance about job and money? Auditory attack and surveillance. Okay, so that's probably a little bit beyond just like a standard attack on your money. But absolutely, there are people who, I call them spiritually targeted individuals, people who are under surveillance, who are being watched. So that's probably beyond our topic for today, but I just want to give you acknowledgement that that absolutely happens to a lot more people than we'd like to realize. Linda says, thank you, Maya. This was so good. Denzel says, very good session, Maya. Great work. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here. And as always, these free lessons are intended to be detailed, but not as in-depth as the Academy. So it's to help give you pieces, right? So if you are dealing with a really intense situation, just consider that you might need the Academy. I just say that because I see people trying to piecemeal some of the free stuff together, and maybe they read the book, the Psychic Attack Sourcebook, but they're dealing with really intense, multi-layered, multi-generational, maybe they're a spiritually targeted individual and they have mega stuff going on. And if that's the case, I really want you to consider that you might need actual step-by-step mentoring. And that's what the Academy is for. So I just wanted to point that out. If you don't feel that you need that, I want to invite you to continue enjoying all of the free content on the YouTube channel, Psychic Protection Sanctuary YouTube channel. I also have like a little tiny bit on TikTok under Maya Jane Zahira. So if you're on TikTok, I've got little mini lessons on there. But if you want to just go to one place, go to the YouTube channel, Psychic Protection Sanctuary. And then, of course, the free Facebook group that is really intended as a casual but important support group where you can see that you're not the only person going through these issues. You're not alone. So I hope that you will continue to enjoy all of the free content. So thank you so much for being here. Tamara says, the Academy is amazing. And again, without sharing personal details, I will just say that several people in the Academy who are currently in the Academy have said that the group, the paid group, the Spiritual Empowerment Academy, it actually feels like family. And that one of the most healing things for them has been to be able to engage with other people who have gone through similar situations, that has been such a healing balm for them through all of the trauma that they've gone through. So thank you all for being here. And we've got a couple more comments and then I will head off for the night. Sky says, thank you. Linda says, thank you, Maya and everyone. Great information. Tamara says, this was enlightening. Thank you, Maya. I'm not sure what topic I'm going to cover next time, but those of you who are in the Facebook group, you can always post and request a particular topic. And if it aligns with my vision for the free group, I'll definitely consider it. So you can always make requests. And as always, I'm sending you guys all my love, and I will see you online. Lots of love.